Motorcycle dealers are carrying 12 to 18 months of unsold inventory right now. New bike sales dropped over 5% in 2025. Tariffs squeeze margins. Insurance costs pushed buyers toward the used market. And every motorcycle sitting on a showroom floor costs a dealer money in floor plan interest every single day. It does not sell. That math has shifted the negotiating power entirely to the buyer. 10 specific motorcycles in the 2026 market are sitting at prices that riders have not seen in years, some of them machines with documented reliability records and genuine long-term value that are discounted purely because the market moved on from them for reasons that have nothing to do with whether they are good motorcycles. I'm Jimmy. Here are the 10. What they actually are, what realistic purchase prices look like right now, and the specific negotiating approach that works for each one in this market. Bike 1. Honda Rebel 1100. Original MSRP $9,999 to $11,499, depending on trim. What you can realistically pay in 2026, $7,500 to $8,500 new. The Rebel 1100 is powered by the same engine as the Honda Africa Twin, a 1,084 cubic centimeters parallel twin, producing 86 horsepower. Honda engineering in a cruiser chassis, traction control, rider modes, and an optional DCT automatic transmission that the adventure touring market has proven across hundreds of thousands of miles. Why it is sitting. Honda built this machine for a demographic that did not fully materialize. Traditional cruiser riders found it too modern, too Japanese feeling, not V-twin enough in its character. Younger riders who might have embraced it were looking at naked bikes and adventure machines instead. The Rebel 500 captures the beginner market. The Rebel 1100 got caught between audiences. Why you should care? The Africa Twin engine in this chassis is one of the most documented reliable power plants Honda currently produces. The parallel twin's fuel economy, routinely confirmed above 50 miles per gallon in mixed riding, makes the long-term ownership cost low. The machine that was awkwardly positioned in the market in 2021 is an excellent motorcycle in 2026 at a price that reflects the positioning problem rather than the machine's actual quality. Negotiating approach. Dealers know the Rebel 1100 has floor time. Reference the V-Strom 650 or the Suzuki SV 650 in the same price range, machines with larger communities that are easier for a buyer to justify. Let the dealer close the gap. Bike 2, Suzuki V-Strom 650, model years 2020 and 2021 specifically. Original manufacturer suggested retail price was $8,299 to $9,099. What you can realistically pay in 2026 is $5,500 to $7,000 for new, old stock. The V-Strom 650 has one of the longest documented reliability records in the adventure touring category. The 645 cubic centimeter V-twin engine has been in production in various configurations since 2004. Independent mechanics understand it completely, parts are universally available, and the machine will cover 100,000 miles with basic maintenance at a cost that most owners describe as minimal. Why the 2020 to 2021 years specifically? The throttle calibration on the initial 1050 version produced feedback that the press described as inconsistent, but that assessment bled onto the 650, which did not share the problem. The 650 in those model years is mechanically identical to the current version for practical purposes and significantly cheaper because the used market priced in the broader V-Strom conversation without distinguishing between platforms. Why you should care. The rider who needs a proven all-condition motorcycle with established service infrastructure for less than $6,000 has a limited set of options that deliver the V-Strom's documented capability. This is the machine that long-distance riders trust, specifically because it has never given them a reason not to. Negotiating approach. New old stock is more negotiable than used examples of this machine because dealers who have been sitting on a 2021 V-Strom 650 for 4 years need it off the floor. Floor plan interest on a machine held that long represents real cost, and the buyer who knows that number has leverage. Bike 3. Kawasaki Vulcan S. Original MSRP $7,399 to $8,049. What you can realistically pay in 2026, $5,500 to $6,200 new. The Vulcan S is powered by Kawasaki's proven 649cc parallel twin, the same engine that powers the Z650 and the Ninja 650 in different states of tune. The ergonomic adjustment system, adjustable reach to the bars, adjustable foot peg position, adjustable seat, means the machine can be configured for riders across a wide range of body types. It is one of the few production motorcycles that addresses fit as an engineering priority rather than an afterthought. Why it is sitting? Identity problem. Traditional cruiser buyers wanted V-twin character, the specific sound and feel of a 45-degree V-twin that Harley and Indian deliver. The Vulcan S has a parallel twin and a riding character that feels more like a naked standard than a traditional cruiser. Modern riders who would have embraced the parallel twin were not shopping in the cruiser category. The machine fell between the stools of two audiences. Why you should care? The Kawasaki 649cc parallel twin and the Ninja 650 has one of the strongest reliability records in its displacement class. That engine in a low seat, accessible cruiser configuration, at $5,500 represents a long-term ownership cost that the competition struggles to match. Kawasaki's dealer infrastructure in the United States is extensive enough that service access is not a concern in most markets. Negotiating approach. Reference the Honda CB500F and the Royal Enfield Meteor 350, machines in adjacent categories that are eating the Vulcan S's market. Dealers know why the machine is not moving. Every motorcycle on this list has a specific inspection requirement before purchase. The reasons they are discounted are documented and in most cases addressable, but only if you know what to verify before you hand over money. Section 7 of the 2026 Motorcycle Buyer's Bible has the printable pre-purchase inspection checklist covering every system that matters on a used or new old stock purchase. Section 6 has the word-for-word dealer scripts that work in the current 2026 market, specifically written for a market where dealers are sitting on 12 to 18 months of inventory and need these machines moved. The prep fee script, the financing markup script, the floor plan leverage script. These are the specific conversations that convert a list price into a real price. Link in the description. Was $97, now $9. Bike 4, BMW G310GS, original MSRP $5,695. What you can realistically pay in 2026, $3,500 to $4,500 new. Used, $2,800 to $3,800. The G310GS is built by TVS in India under BMW engineering direction. The 313 cubic centimeters single-cylinder engine is adequate for urban riding, secondary roads, and light off-road at moderate speeds. The machine is lightweight, manageable, and carries the GS visual language, the tall stance, the adventure styling, the beak, at a price no other GS badge machine approaches. Why it is sitting? Badge expectation versus engine reality. The GS name carries decades of association with machines that can cross continents. Buyers who came to the G310GS expecting a miniaturized version of that capability found a 34 horsepower single that is honest about its limitations in a way that disappointed buyers who purchased the badge rather than researching the specification. At sustained highway speeds, the engine is working near its limit in a way that the R1250GS is not. Why you should care? The G310GS in its correct use case, city commuting, secondary road riding, light green lane exploration, is well suited to what it is. At $3,500 new old stock, it is the cheapest way to experience BMW's build quality and dealer infrastructure on two wheels. For a rider whose primary riding context matches the machine's actual capability, the badge expectation problem is irrelevant. Negotiating approach. The BMW dealership that has a 2023 G310GS on the floor in 2026 has a real problem. Floor plan interest on a 3-year-old machine at BMW dealer overhead rates is significant. The buyer who makes an offer below list and waits will often find the dealer comes back. Bike 5. Yamaha MT9. Specific pre-2021 years. Original manufacturer suggested retail price was $9,499 to $10,499. What you can realistically pay for 2019 and 2020 used models is $5,000 to $6,500. The MT9 is powered by Yamaha's 889cc inline triple, an engine configuration that produces a specific mid-range character that inline 4 machines in the same displacement range do not replicate. The triple produces power in a way that riders describe as more usable than peak numbers suggest, with a torque delivery that feels aggressive without requiring constant rev management. While early years are specifically discounted, the MT9 from 2017 to 2020 had traction control as an option rather than a standard fitment. The current generation's more sophisticated electronics package and refined chassis made earlier examples feel dated in comparison when both were available at similar prices. That comparison drove early MT9 values down in the used market more than the machine's mechanical condition warranted. Why you should care, a 2019 MT9 with documented service history at $5,500 is a different value proposition from a new MT9 at $9,499. The engine is identical. The power is identical. The riding experience is substantially the same. The buyer who does not require the current generation's electronics package and can live with the earlier traction control system is accessing the core of what makes the MT9 worth owning at roughly 60% of new pricing. Negotiating approach. Early MT9 examples in clean condition with documented service are genuinely good buys without negotiation at current asking prices. The leverage exists on examples with higher mileage or incomplete service history where the seller's pricing has not reflected the condition accurately. Bike 6, Honda Goldwing 2018 to 2021. Original MSRP was $23,500 to $30,000 new, depending on trim. What you can realistically pay for 2018 to 2021 used is $14,000 to $20,000. The Goldwing's flat 6 engine is one of the most sophisticated power plants Honda has put in a production motorcycle. 6 cylinders are horizontally opposed. It is smooth to a degree that riders consistently describe as unlike anything else on 2 wheels. The chassis integrates the engine as a structural member. The DCT transmission eliminates clutch operation entirely for riders who want it. The double wishbone front suspension provides handling stability that telescopic forks do not. Why it is sitting, price and demographic. At $25,000 to $30,000 new, the Goldwing requires a buyer who both has the budget and intends to use the machine's long-distance capability regularly. That buyer is becoming rarer as the touring demographic ages. Younger riders who have the budget are choosing adventure bikes. The Goldwing's specific excellence, unmatched long-distance comfort at sustained highway speeds, serves a narrowing audience. Why you should care? The 2018 to 2020 Goldwing introduced the current platform with the DCT, Apple CarPlay integration, and the revised suspension. A 2019 Goldwing Tour with DCT at $16,000 is the same motorcycle as a new Goldwing Tour at $28,000 for every mile it will cover in its next owner's hands. The platform's reliability record across the previous generation extends into the current one. Honda builds Goldwings to last in a way that the price of ownership reflects over time. Negotiating approach. Used Goldwing sellers are predominantly the original owners who purchased new and are stepping back from long-distance riding. These sellers know what they paid and are psychologically anchored to that number. The negotiation works by referencing the current new Goldwing's MSRP, establishing that $28,000 is what new costs, and building the used value from the condition and mileage upward rather than from the original purchase price downward. Bike 7, Triumph Tiger 900. Original manufacturer suggested retail price is $14,500 to $16,500, depending on variant. What you can realistically pay for 2020 to 2022 used models is $8,500 to $11,000. The Tiger 900 carries Triumph's 888 cubic centimeters inline triple in an adventure touring chassis. The triple's character, the specific mid-range pull that the 3-cylinder configuration produces, gives the Tiger 900 a riding experience that parallel twin adventure machines at similar prices do not replicate. The electronics package is comprehensive. The comfort across long distances is proven by documented owner accounts of multi-country trips completed without modification. Why it is sitting. Market saturation in the ADV category. The adventure touring segment received more new entries between 2018 and 2023 than any other motorcycle category. Every manufacturer brought an ADV machine, many of them at prices below the Tiger 900. The Triumph brand premium, real and earned in terms of build quality and character, became harder to justify when the category around it was offering capable machines for $3,000 to $5,000 less. Why you should care. The Tiger 900 from 2020 onward carries genuine improvements over the previous Tiger 800 that make it a different machine in meaningful ways. revised suspension, improved electronics, better wind protection. At $8,500 for a 2021 example with documented service, the machine represents Triumph engineering at BMW GS pricing without the BMW dealer service premium. Panniers frequently included in used listings because original owners purchase them immediately and cannot sell them separately. Negotiating approach. The ADV used market is oversupplied in 2026. The Tiger 900 is competing against used Africa Twins, used Pan Americas, used Versus 1000, and used R1200 GS for the same buyer. The seller of a used Tiger 900 knows the landscape. A buyer who arrives with a specific comparable offer from the Honda or Kawasaki used market has established the competitive price floor. The used prices on these machines are moving in 2026 faster than any previous year in this decade. A Tiger 900 that was $10,500 in March may be $9,200 by the time you are reading this because the ADV category used supply keeps increasing while demand stays flat. Section 5 of the 2026 Motorcycle Buyer's Bible has the complete category by category buyer's guide for the 2026 used market. The specific model years to target, the specific years to avoid, and the inspection points unique to each platform that tell you whether a cheap example is cheap because of the market or cheap because of something you cannot see without looking. Section 1 has the market conditions documentation, why 2026 specifically is the best used buying opportunity in 15 years, and which categories are discounting deepest. Link in the description. Was $97. Now $9. Bike 8, Kawasaki KLR 650, Generation 2, 2008 to 2021. Original MSRP when new was $6,499 to $6,999. What you can realistically pay for a used Generation 2 is $3,500 to $5,500 depending on condition and year. The KLR 650 Generation 2 ran from 2008 through 2021 with minimal changes, which is simultaneously the source of its reputation and the reason it sits in the used market longer than machines with more frequent updates. The 652cc single-cylinder engine produces approximately 40 horsepower. The machine weighs 432 pounds wet. Those specifications are not impressive by any comparative metric. What those specifications produce is a motorcycle that has been ridden around the world through every condition available, with a documented repair simplicity that no other large displacement adventure machine matches. When something breaks on a KLR 650 far from a dealer, the solution is usually available at a hardware store or a general parts supplier. The machine was designed with this reality as a specification. Why it is sitting, the Generation 3 KLR 650 arrived in 2022 and is available new. The Generation 2 used market is competing against new machines at a price disadvantage it did not previously have. The performance limitations that existed before the Generation 3 are now visible in direct comparison. Why you should care. A well-maintained Generation 2 KLR 650 with the documented doohickey service completed, the cam chain tensioner modification that the ownership community has addressed in detail across thousands of examples, is a machine whose failure modes are entirely known and entirely manageable. At $4,000, it is the cheapest entry point into long-distance capable adventure riding that exists in the American motorcycle market. Negotiating approach, private sellers. The KLR 650 Generation 2 is rarely found at dealers in quantity. The private seller market for this machine is the correct channel, and the buyer who has done the doohickey research and can ask specific questions about the service history will establish competence that produces honest pricing faster than any other approach. Bike 9, Harley-Davidson Street 750, original MSRP when new, $7,599. What you can realistically pay in 2026, $3,500 to $5,000 for clean used examples. Some dealers moving remaining stock from $4,000. The Street 750 was Harley's attempt at an accessible, lightweight, liquid-cooled entry machine designed for urban markets. The Revolution X engine, 749 cubic centimeters, liquid-cooled, roughly 50 horsepower, is a competent machine by the specifications of its category. The seat height is low, the weight is manageable, and the fuel economy is better than any air-cooled Harley. Why it is sitting? Identity rejection from both sides. Harley's core audience found it insufficiently Harley, too light, too refined. missing the V-twin character that defines the brand's identity for its established buyers. New riders who might have accepted it looked at Japanese alternatives that offered comparable or better specifications for less money without the Harley premium. The machine was discontinued after 2020, which limits parts supply for later service needs and adds a negotiating dimension. Why you should care. The Revolution X engine in the Street 750 is mechanically sound, and the machine's service record from existing owners is generally positive for routine urban use. At $3,500 to $4,000, a clean Street 750 is the cheapest way to put the Harley-Davidson name on a functional daily motorcycle. For the buyer who wants that specific thing, the brand association, the look, the dealer experience, at the lowest possible price, the Street 750 is the correct answer in the 2026 market. Negotiating approach. Discontinued machines with finite parts supply are negotiating leverage, not a problem, when the buyer frames it correctly. This machine is discontinued, parts availability becomes a question at higher mileage, positions the buyer as informed, and creates downward price pressure. Bike 10. Suzuki Hayabusa 2021 to 2023. Original MSRP $18,599 to $19,299. What you can realistically pay for 2021 to 2023 used $14,000 to $16,500. The Hayabusa's reputation as the machine for maximum speed is accurate. The 1,340 cubic centimeters in line 4 with advanced electronics, revised aerodynamics, and 3 riding modes in the current generation produces a machine that is simultaneously one of the most capable motorcycles in production and one of the narrowest in its appeal. Why it is sitting. The Hayabusa buyer pool has always been specific, riders who understand what the machine is and want exactly that. Insurance costs for a bike with this profile have climbed in every state that tracks motorcycle insurance separately. The practical case for a machine with this power envelope for street riding is increasingly difficult to make in a legal and financial sense, even for riders who would enjoy it. Why you should care. The current generation Hayabusa is a better machine than its predecessor in every electronic and mechanical metric, and it is sitting in dealer inventories at prices that would not have been available 2 years ago. A rider who understands what they are buying. Not a machine for traffic, not a machine for beginners, not a machine for riding near legal speed limits, and who has appropriate experience and insurance access will find the 2021 to 2023 Hayabusa at $14,500 to be one of the most documented, reliable, high-performance motorcycles available at that price point. Negotiating approach. The Hayabusa buyer who arrives informed, who demonstrates understanding of the machine's actual character, and who references specific insurance costs as a negotiating factor is a buyer the dealer takes seriously. Dealers know the Hayabusa buyer pool is narrow. A qualified buyer who signals genuine purchase intent rather than curiosity has leverage that the machine's reputation would not suggest.